Hey guys, this is IrieStarcraft, and I'm back to cast another game for you. This will be another 2v2 on Monlyth Ridge. I normally don't like to cast the same map twice, but hey man, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and there's a lot of good games on Monlyth Ridge, plus the last game was a really old version, so either way, this game is going, and this will be a different race matchup, I promise. So this will be a game between RoDent, the red Zerg player, and Kowboy, who will be on Terran this time. He will be the blue Terran. I don't think I've ever seen Kowboy not as Zerg, so this should be quite interesting. And their opponents are going to be ShOOterMcGav, the purple Terran, and Z, or XXI, or 21. How about Z? I like Z. He is the teal Protoss. So a Terran Zerg versus Terran Protoss, and again Kowboy on an off race, so this should be interesting. Maybe he's starting to play Terran now, and this is what you got to deal with when you're Terran: annoying probe harassment. Kowboy though doing a good job there of not losing too much build time and warding the probe off. And now RoDent will have the honors of chasing the scouting probe, and his spawning pool looks like went down to 10. And going to do an extractor trick to grab an extra drone in there, and Overlord should be on the way now for RoDent, right? Yes, I know my Zerg build orders, right? You use an Overlord when you're supply blocked. See, I are smart, and whoa, 4 drones on the extractor. And that could cost you, man, an extra drone on the extractor, RoDent. Anyway, oh, did he take it off? Yeah, he did take it off. He saw it. Good man. Whoa, ShOOterMcGav has no gas yet. That means mass marines coming out from ShOOterMcGav, I guarantee. At least early, a lot of marines. And Kowboy is getting a tech lab on his first barracks way up in the front, and very interesting here. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going for quick marauders? I don't get it. He is going for very quick marauders, and he's going to rally them across the map. So we're going to try and be extremely aggressive with some marauders, as well as Zerglings from RoDent. But there's only 2 of them. So what is going on here? What are we doing here? We're sending a marauder across the map. And are we getting marauder slow? We are getting marauder slow. So this can be very powerful. And 1 marauder is already out. So using the marauder to kite a zealot. But the cybernetics core has finished for Z. And there's also an extra marine up here for ShOOterMcGav and a sentry on the way. So he should be able to withstand this early pressure. And Kowboy looks like he's going to start shooting away at this zealot and trying to micro back and forth. Will be able to be extremely annoying, and Z is going to be forced to run away with his zealot. And where are the Zerglings from RoDent? If the Zerglings were in position, this game may even be over. ShOOterMcGav does have a lot of marines, so he is going to need to help reinforce that, especially now with the extra marauders down here. And now Zerglings are loose in the base, going to be going after the pylons. Z is going to be throwing out an extra pylon in the back to try and keep these buildings powered. However, it looks like 1 pylon is going to go down. A good thing he had this second pylon. The probes have been pulled off the line for Z and are straight up engaging the Zerglings. So many probes are dying at the same time. ShOOterMcGav bringing SCVs and Marines to fight the Marauders. However, Kowboy doing a great job pulling back. Has not lost any Marauders yet, and he is going to almost kill a sentry there. RoDent with this Overlord. It could even move closer here. And now Marauders are going to be sniping down the cybernetics core. It's going to be very close. The Marines are coming to try and support, but it looks like Kowboy may finish off the cybernetics core. A couple of more shots, and he could have finished it. Oh, that would have been huge. And now the Overlord, it looks like, is going to die, and they're going to have to fall back. Oh, Kowboy could have killed this cybernetics core with 1 more volley there. And that would have really put the Protoss player in a huge bind, because you see how close the warp gate is to finishing. And is he going in to try and finish that cybernetics core? It looks like he is going to do that. However, the research is going to finish before the cybernetics core can go down. And that is going to be huge for the left team. However, the Zerglings are inside the base for RoDent, and he's going to be running into the middle line. The Marines will not chase. It looks like they're going to try and keep the Marauders out while the Zerglings harass the middle line. Going to be surrounding this Stalker. It looks like this Stalker is going to die, but the probes are doing quite a bit of damage to the Zerglings while they're surrounding the Stalker, and there goes the Zerglings. A scan going off for Kowboy so that he can snipe down the Cybernetics Core, but the scan, he wasn't in position when he scanned, and he's unable to kill the Cybernetics Core. Oh my god, this is driving me absolutely crazy. That Cybernetics Core must die. It needs to die, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen now. At least not for a while. But I don't know, Kowboy is going to chill up here. Try and be aggressive. RoDent getting an expansion at the same time, and ShOOterMcGav. Lots of Marines. Lots of Marines. A factory is on the way. 2 factories are on the way, so we'll see what comes out of those. And finally the Cybernetics Core goes down, waiting for that last scan to take care of it. But yeah, the Warp Gate tech is finished, and there's a chance that Z has even already built it. No, he has not preemptively built that Cybernetics Core, so he will need to do that, and he is going to do that back here. So, I like this play with the early Marauders there, taking advantage of the Protoss building placement. As a standard building placement for Protoss is to create a 1 unit wide choke point using a Cybernetics Core and a gateway and a Zealot when you're going against one Zerg. And the Terran player Kowboy preemptively going up to try and snipe out the buildings and using that building placement to his advantage. So you got to be careful against Terran players early in the game when you build your buildings way out in the front, because they can shoot them from the low ground if they have any vision. And now Kowboy throwing down 3 bunkers here to defend these expansions that they have already got. RoDent's already got his mining pretty well here, and RoDent has been droning up quite a bit. He does have a Spire finished now, and there are not any mutas on the field yet. It looks like he is banking. He's going to be banking some resources now, and at some point is going to be building a whole bunch of mutas. Looks like he's going to be preemptively getting his overlords first, and then going to probably be pumping out 7 to 8, 9 mutalisks all at the same time. And meanwhile, the Twilight Council has finished for Z, and the Dark Shrine is on the way. So if there aren't any missile turrets thrown down here at the front by Kowboy, as there's still no engineering bay, it looks like those Dark Templars will prove extremely, extremely annoying. RoDent does have his lair tech, so he will be able to morph in an Overseer fairly quickly. But this has not been scouted, obviously, yet. And at the same time, there are a bunch of siege tanks now for ShOOter here, and it looks like they're going to try and make an attack. I'm surprised they're going to make the attack now with the Dark Shrine only at 20 seconds away. And I don't know if there's a proxy pawn. There's not, and the watchtowers are occupied by the right team, so they see this attack coming ahead of time. However, these siege tanks are going to prove extremely, extremely frustrating, and those mutas are going to be needed very soon from RoDent. Instead, he is building a whole bunch of Zerglings. So this is going to be huge trouble for RoDent and Kowboy. The siege tanks are shelling away, easily destroying these bunkers. However, the units from Z are running sort of ahead of themselves, running into the meat grinder of Marines and bunkers back here. And now it looks like this factory is going to get taken out, possibly before even being canceled. It looks like it auto-canceled there. And now that whole wall that they just built is going to get annihilated. RoDent now, just now with his mutas on the field. And is he going to be looking to try and take out some of the siege tanks, or is he going to fly around to counterattack? There is a Zergling run by at the same time going on for RoDent, and he's going to start pecking away at the front of this base, I believe. No, the Zerglings are going to fall back and possibly try and counter the tanks in the back. I don't think so. Actually, it looks like they are going to run into the Protoss base. So at the same time, right now, Z is in a huge lot of trouble. A huge lot. He's in a huge lot of trouble. These mutas with a bad rally point from RoDent are getting just annihilated by the Marines there. Where are RoDent, the rest of his mutalisks right now? Where are the rest of these mutas? They are chilling way back up here. It looks like, I don't know what these mutas are, not sure what they want to do. These tanks are being very well protected by ShOOterMcGav. And there goes both natural expansions while Kowboy is able to lift his off. And now Kowboy's base, he has nothing in here except a few Marines. He is in huge trouble. He's going to be lifting the supply depot up. ShOOterMcGav even building some bunkers down here. And oh, the Muta's flying right over the Marines. However, most of them did manage to survive there. And now it looks like RoDent is going to be making a counterattack with his Mutalisk. And it looks like this base is going to go down. And he's going to concede this base and try and do a full-on base race counterattack. The Protoss base is completely exposed right now. I don't think there's any Dark Templars on the field. No, there are not. And now the Mutas are free in the middle line at the other side. And at the same time, the RoDent's buildings, his hatchery is Dunsky. And Kowboy trying to snipe some tanks out, but he will not be able to do that. Rallying some units down here, pretty exposed down there. Kowboy, I think, needs to turtle up and see if RoDent can force or can cripple the other team with his Mutas. Some Stalkers being warped in. RoDent should be able to gauge this directly. The Stalkers, they're not in high enough number to deal with this. They're going to be forced to run away and end up losing all of them, wasting all those minerals there. I don't even know if any Mutas were killed, maybe one. And now Z in a world of hurt. He has no probes left, no army. ShOOterMcGav, though, has got to be careful. Wait a minute, where'd all the tanks go? Oh my god, you guys. Oh my god, you guys. Okay, it just calls for a rewind. Sorry. Calling for a rewind. The tanks can't just disappear. That's not allowed to happen. This stim up by Kowboy. Going to be sniping out these tanks, and that's huge. That's huge right there. A nice play. Even though he sacrificed so many units, killing those tanks is huge. Now he should be able to hold this line. Maybe. It's going to be very close. He's going to be trying to hold this line now, but without the fire from the siege tanks, he's going to have a lot better chance. There are a couple of Stalkers here that are going to help, and it looks like this supply depot is going to go down, and the units will be streaming in here, but there's not that many of them. Kowboy may have a chance to hold this. At the same time, the Mutas are loose in ShOOterMcGav's base. There is some missile turrets, though, to deal with those Mutas. And now the ball of Marines and a couple of probes for Z are inside Kowboy's base, and he's going to be bringing all the SCVs off the line to try and surround the Marines. And he has one Marauder to fight and one Marine back here. Another Marine has popped out for Kowboy. And a couple more siege tanks have made it down here for ShOOterMcGav. That is going to prove huge trouble. There are 3 siege tanks at the front of his base shelling away and destroying this wall completely. This game getting extremely intense right now, as it looks like the Mutas from RoDent have flown back in here to try and help defend, but they ran away from the siege tanks, and now the Marines have come up to support them, and the Mutas should not be able to kill these tanks now. But it looks like Kowboy's going to rush this, but RoDent's not ready for it. Oh my god. You guys got to attack at the same time, man. Oh man. This siege tank is so low on hit points. And I feel like they may have actually been able to break that if they had attacked at the same time, but they're not. And Kowboy has re-landed this base, and now it is going to be in huge trouble. He may have to lift off this command center. Looks like he is, but however, the Marines in the process of running over there have left the tanks exposed, and RoDent has taken care of those. Z, it looks like, has decided not to rebuild in this game. A very peculiar. Very, very peculiar. Z has opted to bring up a couple of those Stalkers and tried to end the game there, instead of at least saving enough for him to build a few probes. And now RoDent is going to fly into his main. It looks like start working on the Nexus. So I guess Z maybe had the right idea, but there are Marines for ShOOterMcGav that could have helped him. And I think at this point, realizing that they aren't going to be able to end the game by going all in on Kowboy, ShOOterMcGav is thinking, oh crap, or Z is thinking, I shouldn't have done that. I should have saved money for some probes. And especially with these Marines to defend me now. There, so you can see the minerals being transferred and the probes instantly being queued up by Z, so he is going to be trying to get back in this game. And if you still have your Nexus, man, there's no reason to pack it in. If you don't have your Nexus, now you're talking about a different story, because all that time to build the Nexus, plus all the minerals that it costs that you'd be stealing from your teammates, another story. But a couple of Marines getting separated from the pack and picked off, and so RoDent doing a nice job controlling the map now with the Mutalisk, and going to be picking off another Marine, it looks like, that is trying to scout here. There will be a scan going off, not revealing anything. Just I think ShOOterMcGav worried that maybe RoDent was still going to be trying to rebuild somewhere, but he will not be doing that, as RoDent is completely done ski except for these mutas. He's got to be very, very careful with, as there are some Marines up here, but now they have a tank support from Kowboy on the low ground, and the mutas will be able to provide vision for the tanks. So a very nice team play here, using mutas to provide vision for the tanks, and going to be picking off the probes that Z has tried to rebuild. I think it was too late at that point for him to try and rebuild, but not much he would have been able to do about this attack. So maybe he had it right to begin with, to just pack it in, man. Just pack it in. Missile turrets at this base will prevent mutas from doing anything. And now ShOOterMcGav looks like going to be trying to make a counterattack, realizing that Kowboy's a large portion of his army is out of position over down in this corner. And I think Kowboy is going to try and fall back to try and defend this. He does have 4 tanks already in siege mode at the front here, and that will make it very difficult to push, as the siege tanks to try and get into range and then siege up will be taking a ton of damage in the process. And is Kowboy going to be setting up on this high ground? Looks like it will be too late, because these units will have pulled back in time. So still anybody's game. It has come down to a 1v1 TVT style, and this is the point where I think now, does RoDent have any more of his mutas? He still has his 5 mutas. It looks like they're just picking out buildings here. But this is the point, especially for the left team, I think, right now, where you want to start delegating responsibility. You want to give, give him a medevac, build a medevac or two, and as there's still no starport on the field here, and give him like an army of Marines and a medevac, and let him do some harassment. As, whoa, it looks like Kowboy has lifted off and landed over here. Whoa, there's a DT inside Kowboy's base for Z. It looks like Z bumps some minerals to get a DT, and he's halted all mining at this base and is just slicing and dicing these SCVs. It's going to cost him a scan, and he's going to have to pull this entire army back to deal with it. And a pretty effective harassment there, especially since this DT is able to get away. But one other thing you could think about, or could have done, is this Kowboy is going to finally need to build a engineering bay. A Thor on the way for Kowboy as well as mech upgrades. What I was going to say is that sending in that DT originally was a good idea, but he could have had his army in position here to possibly creep forward and set up a siege line to box Kowboy in. However, Kowboy does have 2 bases here that he's boxed into. And a DT coming right up on this high ground to try and take out that army, but the scan going off will take care of that. And I think that ShOOterMcGav wanted to do that. He wanted to follow up the DT harass with an attack, but the placement of these tanks here would not allow that. He would have had to run all the way around this side, and by then it would have been too late, man. ShOOterMcGav banking a lot of minerals and gas right now. Meanwhile, RoDent is macroing much better, spending his minerals, and even going to be building an expansion up here at the high yield. ShOOterMcGav is going to be getting finally another base down here, though, and a factory and a starport is finally on the way for ShOOterMcGav. And now the mutas for RoDent, I guess, have been whittled down to 4, but I don't see the 4th one anywhere. It looks like there may just have been 1. Yeah, 1 is left here to work on those buildings and make sure nothing gets built there. And now 3 mutas are going to take forever to kill anything, but these Marines from ShOOterMcGav could have stemmed up and possibly taken a few of them out, but it looks like instead they're going to be preserving that hit points. And I just want to see some medevacs so bad. I'm saying that, yeah, pump out a couple medevacs, give control to Z, and let him do some drop harassment. As you can see, there is a planetary fortress now established at this location, and ShOOterMcGav is going to leave the game. Z leaves the game Wow, I'm surprised that they left right there. I mean, I think Kowboy definitely had the upper hand, and especially going for these expansions here. But I'm really surprised. I'm surprised that they left right there without even trying to defend or make a push. So, anyway, pretty exciting game there. Good game. Thank you, RoDent, for sending me this game. It was a pleasure to cast. And that is going to do it for me. This is IrieStarcraft, and peace out.